I find my friend. You don't seek offerings without the heart, but a love. So I lift my eyes to you, and I choose the path that's true. You desire more than sacrifice, Hesed and doubt, Elohim in my life. I will know you, walk in your light, Kadosh and compassionate, righteous and might. Yes, you desire mercy, so I will give you me. My soul returns with trembling awe to the one who gave the Torah. Not just words, but life and breath. Me to faithful steps. So I bow and seek your face and receive amazing grace. You desire more than sacrifice, Hesed and doubt, Elohim in my life. I will know you, walk in your light, Kadosh and compassion and righteous in might. Yes, you desire mercy, so I will give you me. Tear my heart, not just my clothes. Let my life be what you chose. A bride who knows the bridegroom's way and loves you more each day. You desire more than sacrifice, Hesed and doubt, Elohim in my life. I will know you, walk in your light, Kadosh and compassion and righteous in might. Yes, you desire mercy, so I will give you me. Yes, I give you. You say, come to me, return again in your mercy. I find my friend, you don't seek offerings without the heart, but a love that won't depart. So I lift my eyes to you, and I choose the path that's true. You desire more than sacrifice, Hesed and doubt, Elohim in my life. I will know you, walk in your compassionate in might. Yes, you desire mercy, so I will give you me. My soul returns with trembling awe to the one who gave the Torah. Not just words, but life and breath, calling me to faithful steps. So I bow and seek your face face and receive amazing grace. You desire more than sacrifice. Hesed and Dayat, Elohim in my life. I will know you, walk in your light, kadosh and compassionate, righteous in night. Yes, you desire mercy, so I will give you me. Tear my heart, not just my clothes. Let my life be what you chose. A bride who knows the bridegroom's way and loves you more each day. You desire more than sacrifice. Hesed and Dayat, Elohim in my life. I will know you, walk in your light, kadosh and compassionate, righteous in might. Yes, you desire mercy, so I will give you me.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiteshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al debri Torah. Blessed are you, eternal, our Elohim, sovereign of the universe, that has sanctified us with your commandments and has ordained us in respect for the studies of your word of the Torah. Shalom Ahim, Ach, and Ahot. This is your servant and friend, Roy Ephraim Jaime, bringing you to today's third day AliYAH, high spiritual elevation, from the Parashat Tetsave, which means you will command, by Dr. Roy Carlos Reyes, International Ministries, Restoring the House of Israel. The robe atoned reminds us of the atonement for Lashon Hara. According to Kli Yakar, the turquoise color of the robe is related to the atonement. Turquoise blue, reminiscent of the sea, reminds man that just as Elohim placed limits on the extent of the vast oceans, so he provided man with a fence and lock to his tongue in the form of lips and teeth. Furthermore, just as the sea does not go beyond its boundaries, so man must keep his speech within the confines of the permitted. In addition, turquoise alludes to the sky above and reminds us of Elohim's constant presence. The gold bells and pomegranates also allude to the sin of Lashon Hara. On one hand, the pomegranates allude to the silence one must generally maintain, particularly with regard to talking about others. What must one trade be in this world? Let him act like a mute. On the other hand, the bells symbolize the positive power of speech one must employ in Torah study, prayer, and in doing favors for others. If one uses his speech sparingly and selectively, the Torah promises that his prayer will be answered. Hallelujah. In this third AliYAH, found in Exodus chapter 28, verse 31 through 43, we, we read, "The ephod robe shall be made of blue wool. The opening for the head will be made so that it does not break. At the bottom there will be clothed grenades, and golden bells between them, so that it can be heard when it enters and when it leaves the sanctuary. A gold plaque must be made holiness to Yahweh. He shall be fastened with a blue woolen thread on his forehead, that Aaron may bear the sin for the consecrated things and the gifts of the offerings of the children of Israel. A tunic will be made of linen checks. A linen cap and a belt will also be made for the work of a coder. For the sons of Aaron, tunics, belts, and caps will be made. Aaron and his sons will be clothed, anointed, ordained, and consecrated to serve as priests before the Eternal. Linen underpants must be made for them to cover their nakedness when they officiate, from the loins to the thighs." Let us begin reading Exodus chapter 28, verse 31. "And thou shalt make the robe of the ephod all of blue wool." As we have said before, this blue robe represents the Messiah as the bread of life that came down from heaven. This came this same dye, blue, is that of the only blue thread in the tzitzits, a commandment that the men of Israel keep because we have an equally priestly calling. In the book of Numbers, chapter 15, verse 37 and 38, Yahweh said to Moshe, "Speak to the son of Israel, instructing them to make throughout all their generations tzitziyot in the corners of their garments, and put with the tzitziyot in every corner a thread of blue." This entire cloak was made of blue wool. The blue color is taken from a mollusk that in the Talmud is called hilazon. Gilazon. It is the same color used for one of the fringes, threads that hang from the four corners of every obedient Jew robe. Numbers chapter 15, verse 37 through 41. Tehelet. For a long time, it was not known exactly what animal it was, but during the last century, deep investigations have been carried about that have resulted in the exact identification of the animal, whose Latin name is Murex trunculus. For this reason, the blue thread for the fringes of the talitot can already be obtained in Jewish stores. The name of the blue wool thread in Hebrew is tehelet. The color blue symbolizes the sky. Exodus chapter 28, verse 32. "The opening of the head shall be bent inward. Around the opening there shall be a woven border like the opening of a breastplate. It shall not break." As we have said before, this sky blue cloak shows how the Messiah, who is the head, pierced the heavens. His ministry is eternal. It will not be broken. The body of the Messiah is his children who have received the same indestructible life through his resurrection. As it is written in Colossians chapter 1 verse 18, he is also the head of the body, which is the congregation. In 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 17 says, since bread is one, we who are many are one body, for we all partake of that same bread. Ephesians chapter 1 verse 18 through 23. My prayer is that the eyes of your hearts may be enlightened, that you may know what is the hope of his calling, what are the riches of the glory of his inheritance in the saints, and what is the exceeding greatness of his power towards us who believe, according to the efficacy of the strength of his power, who worked in the Messiah when he raised him from the dead and seated him at his right hand in the heavenly places, far above all principality, authority, power, dominion, and every name that is named, not only in this age, but also in the age to come. And he put all things under his feet and gave him as head over all things to the congregation, which is his body, the fullness of him who fills all in all. So Melchizedek's ministry is executed in an intimate collaboration between the head, the Messiah, and his body, his congregation. All who have gone through immersion in water by the Spirit are part of his body, as is written in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 13. For by one Spirit we are all immersed in one body, whether Jew or Greek, whether slave or free, and we were all given to drink of the same Spirit. Exodus chapter 28, verse 33. And it reads, and thou shalt make pomegranates of blue wool, purple wool, and crimson wool, round about all around them, and among them also round about bells of gold. These pomegranates symbolize the fruit of the Spirit, which is the expression of the indestructible life and character of the risen Messiah. In Galatians chapter 5, verse 22 and 23 says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. The golden bells symbolize the supernatural manifestation of the Spirit, which are the works of the Messiah. As it is written in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 7 through 10. But to each one is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. For to one is given the word of wisdom by the Spirit, to another the word of knowledge according to the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healing by the one Spirit, powers of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discernments of spirits, to another various kinds of languages, and on the other interpretations of languages. With the help of the Eternal, in a future lesson, we will delve deeper into each of these manifestations. Exodus chapter 28, verse 34. A golden bell and a pomegranate, another golden bell and another pomegranate, and so on around the whole edge of the garment. Both of these things are necessary for the high priestly ministry. The fruit is love. The bells are the supernatural manifestations. If there are supernatural manifestations without love, we are like resounding metal and a clanging cymbal. First Corinthians chapter 13:1 says, "If I speak with tongues of men and angels, but have not love, I have become like sounding brass of a clanging cymbal." A golden bell and a pomegranate, another golden bell and another pomegranate. The first golden bell corresponds to First Corinthians chapter 12, which speaks of the supernatural manifestation. The pomegranate that follows corresponds to First Corinthians chapter 13, which speaks of the fruit of the Spirit, love, and the next pomegranate corresponds to the First Corinthians chapter 14, which again speaks of spiritual manifestations. Exodus chapter 28, verse 35. "And he shall be upon Aaron when he ministers, and the tinkling shall be heard when he enters the holy place before Yahweh, and when he comes out, that he may not die." These special vestments had golden bells on the edge, so that the sound could be heard from outside the Holy of Holies. In this way, the one who was outside knew that the Kohen Gadol was alive. That is, since only the Kohen Gadol, if he died, no one could know, since no one else. In this way, if the bells rang, it was a sign that he was still alive. From this arises the question: would not this kind of fear of Yahweh be related rather to fear, knowing that before him anyone who was not in the fullness of Kedushah, which is in the fullness of holiness, could die? Today, this concept has been completely annulled by hearing phrases such as, "He is an Elohim of love." Fear refers to respect, not fear. Could it be that these modern approaches are real? Hebrews chapter 13, verse 8 says, "Yahshua HaMashiach is the same yesterday, today, and forever." Tehillim, Psalms 102, verse 27 says, "But you remain the same, and your years will never end." John chapter 1, verse 1 says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Yahweh, and the Word was Yahweh." John chapter 8, verse 58 says, "Yahshua said to them, Yes, truly before Abraham had life, I am." Hebrews chapter 1, verse 12, "And thou shalt bend them like sackcloth." Yes, they will be changed like clothes, but you remain the same. Your years will never end. The pomegranate, the fruit of the Spirit, the character of the Messiah must be present in the ministry. The sound of the bells, the spiritual manifestations, which are the miracles of the Messiah, must also be heard in the ministry. If we promote only love in the congregation without seeking supernatural manifestations, we are not living according to the Messiah. If we seek only spiritual manifestations without loving our neighbor as ourselves, we are not living according to the Messiah either. If we don't have these two ingredients in our priestly ministry, in spirit and truth, the ministry will die. We need both the fruits and the bells when we enter the presence of the Eternal. We also need both when we go out to others. First, it is written that you have to enter and then leave. Our movement towards the Eternal is more important than our movement towards others. First, we love the Eternal and serve Him every day, and then we serve our neighbor in love. So our messianic ministry will not die. First John chapter 3, verse 14 to 24. Exodus chapter 28, 36 says, "Make a front of pure gold and engrave on it the seal inscription, consecrated to Yahweh." On Kohen Gadol's forehead was a gold foil with a special message reminding him and others of his responsibility. This man was consecrated solely and exclusively to Yahweh. The word consecrated is kadesh, from the Strong's number 6944, which means thing, dedicated, place, sacred, holiness, sanctify, place, most holy, thing, day, place, holy sanctuary. So this person was also a living sanctuary of Yahweh's presence. Rabbi Saul tells us in Ephesians chapter 1, verse 13 and 14. In him you also, having heard the message of truth, the good news of your salvation, and having believed in him, were sealed with the Spirit of holiness that had been promised, which is the guarantee of our inheritance for the redemption of what has been acquired for the praise of his glory. Which shows us that the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit of holiness, represents a seal for us. Scripture tells us in Revelations chapter 7, verse 1 through 4. After this, I saw four messengers standing on the four corners of the earth, and stopping the four winds of the earth, so that no wind should blow on the earth, or on the sea, or on any tree. And I saw that another messenger, coming up from the east, had the seal of the living Elohim. And he called with a loud voice to the four messengers who were granted harm to the earth and the sea, saying, do not harm the earth, nor the sea, nor the trees, until we mark with a seal the foreheads of the servants of our Elohim. I heard the number of those sealed, 144,000, sealed from all the tribes of the children of Israel. On the other hand, verse 9 of that same chapter tells us, after this I looked and saw a great multitude from all the nations and races and peoples and tongues, whose number no one could number. They are standing before the throne and in the presence of the Lamb, clothed in white robes and carrying palms in their hands. It is clear that they are two different groups. In the first, a fixed and precise number of 144,000 stamped is declared, while in the second it speaks of an indeterminate or indeterminate number, an uncountable multitude. The first group is explicitly said to have the seal of Elohim, but not the second, at least not explicitly. Could we talk about different seals or signs? On the other hand, it mentions in Revelations chapter 9, verse 2 through 4, and he opened the pit of the deep, and smoke came up from the pit like the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun was darkened, and also the air by the smoke of the well. And out of the smoke came locusts upon the earth. And power was given to them like the power of the scorpions of the earth. And they were told not to harm the grass of the earth, or any green thing, or any tree, but only men who do not have the seal of Elohim on their foreheads. This tells us that only men who do not have the seal of Elohim on their foreheads will suffer judgment. Will only the 144,000 escape this trial? Other texts to take into account is 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 19, which reads, nevertheless, the solid foundation of Elohim stands, having this seal, Yahweh knows those who are his own, and lets everyone who calls on the name of Yahweh turn away from iniquity. And in 2 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 21 and 22 says, and it is Elohim who confirms us with you in Mashiach, and who anointed us. He is also the one who has seated us and has put the Spirit in our hearts as a guarantee. Exodus chapter 28, verse 38. And it shall be upon the forehead of Aaron, and Aaron shall bear the iniquity of the holy things, which the children of Israel shall consecrate in all their holy offerings. And the picture shall always be upon their foreheads, that they may be accepted before Yahweh. The gold front should always be on Aaron's forehead. This teaches us that we must always keep in mind our great responsibility to be holy as Yahweh is holy. This plate, which was a diadem or crown in some versions, had a special relationship with the offerings that the people gave to the Eternal, as if some of them could become inappropriate when presented to Yahweh. For some reason, the diadem was on the forehead, in the area that denotes the intelligence and understanding of man. This allows us to understand the intimate relationship between the offering and the understanding we bring about this offering. Let us not offer for the sake of offering. We must know fully what, why, and when to give our offerings, all the way to the highest level of giving. Romans chapter 12, verse 1. Therefore, brethren, I beseech you by the mercies of Elohim to offer your bodies to him as a living sacrifice, consecrated and pleasing to Yahweh, as your rational service. The Talmud says that there was a space between the cap and the plate where the tefillin on the head was placed. This gold foil was put in to atone for sacrifices that were not made perfectly. This agrees with 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 5, where it is written, "You also, as living stones, be built up as a spiritual house for a holy priesthood, to offer spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Elohim through Yahshua the Messiah." Through Yahshua, our spiritual sacrifices are accepted before the Father. Exodus chapter 28 verse 41. And thou shalt clothe thy brother Aaron with them, and his sons with him, and you shall anoint them, and ordain them, and consecrate them to serve me as priests. All this happened with the Messiah and all this happens with all those who follow him faithfully. The call to Aaron involved not only him, but also his family. The same is true today with all of us who choose to follow Yahshua as our Messiah. We are called to be priests and holy people. Exodus chapter 19 verse 6. 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 9. If we have understood that this is the first instance a matter of one lineage, our entire family has such an opportunity to serve the Eternal. Joshua chapter 24 verse 15 says, "But I and my family will serve Yahweh." Hallelujah. This concludes the third AliYAH from the Parashat Tetsave. I pray that it has been helpful, and may all have a shalom afternoon. Shalom Aleichem.
Mercy, I find my friend. You don't seek offerings without the heart, but a love that won't depart. So I lift my My soul returns with trembling awe to the one who gave the Torah. Not just words, but life and breath, calling me to faithful steps. So I bow and seek your face and receive amazing grace. You desire more than sacrifice. Hesed and died, Elohim in my life. I will know you, walk in your light. Kadosh and compassion, righteous in might. Yes, you desire mercy. So I will give you me. Tear my heart, not just my clothes. Let my life be what you chose. A bride who knows the bridegroom's way and loves you more each day. You desire more than sacrifice. Hesed and died, Elohim in my life. I will know you, walk in your light. Kadosh and compassion and righteous in might.